pressure on British Prime Minister Boris Johnson over parties held in Downing Street while the rest of the country was in COVID lockdown continues to mount. Johnson apologized on Wednesday for attending a Bring Your Own Booze event in May 2020, but continues to insist he didn't know it was a party, thinking instead it was an office event. But details of more parties have continued to come out. On Friday, Downing Street apologized to the Queen for an event held on the eve of Prince Philip's funeral. Opposition Labour Party leader Keir Starmer says Johnson should resign. Joining me now from London is Tyke Enright. Good evening, Tyke. So, as Johnson is facing more calls to resign, calls even from his own Conservative Party, he rolled out some new policy initiatives. How has the public reacted to that?
Yeah, that's right, Stefan. A series of pretty dramatic announcements today, which many believe is a concerted distraction campaign from the scandals surrounding the parties, which you've been mentioning. Over the last few days, the newspaper has been full of reports about what is being dubbed Operation Red Meat by Boris Johnson's team. Now, Downing Street has denied that that's what's happening, but many would say that the proof is in the very nature of the announcements themselves. Populist policies designed to appeal to that right wing of the Conservative Party and bring them back on side. Example number one, an announcement to have the Royal Navy deployed to manage the situation with people crossing the English Channel in small boats to seek asylum, something which right-wingers have been calling for a long time. And on the same day, an announcement that the state broadcaster here, the BBC, will no longer be funded by the TV licence, that form of indirect taxation after the year 2027. That has also been a long time issue of contention for right-wingers here. Now, plenty of critical voices speaking out against these proposals and calling them out for the distraction campaign that many people believe them to be. I have to say, not a lot of the usual people you would expect to be supportive of such measures actually speaking in support of them today, apart from government spokespeople themselves. Meanwhile, there's also a poll of grassroots members of Boris Johnson's Conservative Party, ordinary members, which show that 40% of them want Boris Johnson to resign. Now, perhaps that's because these right-wing policies haven't had enough chance to catch on with the general public, or perhaps it's because the public won't be won't be distracted by them.
So the Prime Minister obviously facing another tough week, with opposition leader Keir Starmer likely to grill him on Wednesday. What can we expect?
Well, certainly Keir Starmer last week went for the jugular, playing his trump card by calling for Boris Johnson to resign. It might be a little trickier for him this week because subsequently we've also had photos distributed of him enjoying a beer with colleagues in a constituency office around the same time as that infamous May 20th party for which Boris Johnson apologised. Now, Keir Starmer says that in his case, and unlike Boris Johnson's excuse, it was actually a work event and he has nothing to apologise for. That said, I wouldn't expect it to hold him back when it comes to his next opportunity to grill Johnson in the Parliament behind me here. It certainly does, though, give Boris Johnson some ammunition in response. But of course, as you mentioned, since that last session, we've heard about 4 additional parties, not least those 2 the night before the Duke of Edinburgh's funeral, for which Downing Street has apologised to Buckingham Palace. And of course, at the rate they've been coming, many people are expecting there could yet be more revelations, and certainly Boris Johnson is facing a very nervous wait between now and whenever it is that that civil servant that he's appointed to investigate all these parties comes out with her report. It might be at the end of this week, it could be the end of next week, maybe we'll have to wait even longer, we don't know, and we're waiting to see if she points the finger of blame at Boris Johnson himself. But many, even members of his own party, have already made up their own minds and they've called on him to resign. Stefan?
All right, Tyke Enright there in London. Thank you for these updates.